Yo, dropping the bucket. Expose. Okay, so I was just talking with my uncle on the phone, and he said that he said a lot of stuff. He listened more than anything, which is a great skill. I do not possess near enough volume. However, I was talking about dropping the bucket. I was talking to him about it, and I was saying before that, like, people buy a lottery ticket because they think that they want money, but they don't. They want to spend money, and then upon spending money, that fantasy, oh, I got all these, unlimited resources because I won the lottery or whatever. They find out it's empty. They've been there, done that. They got the car, they got the girl, they've done, sit on the beach, prop their feet up till they got bored with it, whatever. And, looking at what people do that have money, and a lot of them get miserable, right? Because they don't have a purpose. Well, their desire is actually to spend money. And then it's like, well, if you had the money, what would you do? It's kind of like a thought exercise. And then what you realize, you would do this, you would do that, and what's the end result of that? It kind of narrows down to about two paths. One, like, you're super selfish and greedy, and you're just going to continue until you kick. You know what I mean? And the other way, it's like you might want to, you might have like a come to Jesus moment and want to make the earth a better place for mankind to live and thrive, type of deal. So then we got to talking about, how to actually get it done. And, like, good ideas and stuff. You know what I mean? And I was talking to him because I'm supposed to be talking to the pardon lady. See how that goes. And I was telling him, I was like, man, I think it'd be great to go to, get the paperwork to actually make the coffee cup 45. You know what I mean? To stuff those coffee cups. And then, make that, and then make it a thing. And then, like, after, if you make guns, somebody's getting shot eventually. And then that shit will be all over the news. This lady had a freaking coffee cup with a gun in it and shot somebody at the gas station, right? Then, good or bad, publicity's publicity. That day that somebody eventually gets shot, good or bad, doesn't matter. Well, it matters, but it's going to be on the news. Then, the next day, all the criminals know that the coffee cup has a gun in it. So, my wife, your kids, everybody, with that bastard's down there at the gas station picking who he's going to hijack, they get out, hold the coffee cup. That's it. That's all they see. And the guy says, is that one of them ones with a gun in it? I better not target her. So every woman just got safer in the whole country. And that's like the ultimate goal. And then I'm like, going through this pardon process, then I gotta go to school, then I gotta get licensed, and blah, 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 blah. And the only felony I got, child support. So, but it's a process, you know what I mean? So, on and on, trying. And when they made the Colt 45, they said that was a gun that tamed the West and made women actually equal to men. That's what made women safe, was they were armed. You know what I mean? Like, if everybody has the capacity to take each other's life, respect rules the streets. And we got certain people in the environment that have come from places that have no concept of respect. They think it's okay. They have beliefs. And where they come from, there are laws that if a woman doesn't have her head covered, she should be severely abused for that. Okay? They come over here and start that shit. Molly has a coffee cup 45 and shoots the ass off a couple of them. Go by God. They will have FA'd and FO'd. And now, every woman with a coffee cup, whether it's got anything in it or not, you can just have a regular one at that point. Now, everybody would just walk around with coffee cups. And people are like, hey, we better pump the brakes and be a little more respectful. Okay, and that's going to cut down your Karen quite a bit, because Karen is actually saying, hey, you need to act respectful. That's really what it is. You know what I mean? My grandma would hit you in the head. She always had a bucket. I don't know what the deal was. Like, she'd be going here, doing that. She might be mopping the floor. She might be, feeding the animals, whatever. But she had one of them heavy buckets that you hang on a fence post. It's kind of round. It's got the flat back and a heavy handle, so you can, feed the animals and stuff. Back then, they were metal. And her immediate go-to in any situation is to pick something up and hit you in the head with it. And, you talk a little crazy, you get a little sideways. She come at you with that Karen energy and just upside your head immediately. And then, talk to you about it and explain to you that not only are you going to modify your behavior, but now you owe her something because there's a price to pay. And you owe that now to her. So, with that type of energy all around, you know what I mean? And I'm going to tell you right now, a man that's scared will kill you. An old man will kill you. A woman of any age, stage, and size, if you go in for the Biden stiff, or you reach for that car keys and the kids in the back seat, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. The women will kill you faster. Anyways, not in my experience, just in my opinion. So if we actually think that they have deadly force capable, like some Karen comes up to me talking shit, I'm just like, F you, Karen. I don't care. What's she gonna do? You know what I mean? She just comes over there looking at me, and she walks up with a pistol. I'll say, how can I help you, ma'am? Like anybody would. That's just like human nature. So the right to bear arms is the get right that America needs. Okay? And it's also transcends age, stage, boundary, religious beliefs, all of that. Bang! You know what I mean? Like, you're walking up there and you think my wife, she's not situationally aware, getting some gas at the gas station, and in her opposite hand, she has a coffee cup, and Mr. Nefarious looks over there and sees that cup. He ain't going to try her, so they're all better off. Anyways, so that's a good idea. And people say, "Oh, I have good ideas all the time," but under scrutiny, every time I ask these people, okay, so you have them all the time, all right. So what actually is this good idea you speak of? You know what I mean? And my good ideas, I call them a drop in the bucket. You know what I mean? Because I don't want to do what it takes to go through the process of coffee cup and 38 Special has a bastard love child, and now everybody's like drinking coffee, looks like they're armed and dangerous to promote public safety. And that really would work, okay? But I don't hear a lot of people saying stuff like that. But they'll say, I have good ideas all the time. I'm like, okay, yeah, well, what's one of these good ideas? You know what I mean? I got $100 in dollar bills. Well, can I see one of the dollar bills? Like, I'm not trying to take it from you. Like, you can keep it or whatever, but like, can I see it? Just one? 99 times out of 100. If you asked 100 people, 99 of them cannot produce one of these good ideas under scrutiny. Like an actual marketable betterment of mankind idea. Okay? Like, it's very difficult. Like, there's a lot of good ones, but they're partials. And then I'm not asking for like the idea and then like your warehouse, your logistics. How are you going to engineer the manufacturing lines? How can you keep up with capacity? Where's your sources from? We're talking about a coffee cup. I'm not asking you to go, find a geologist to locate the iron ore and set up a mine and spelt and alloy. That ain't what I'm talking about, man. I'm just like, hey, a pistol and a coffee cup's a pretty good idea. Like one of those. You know what I mean? Do you have that? Well, you probably do. And if you apply and think about it and everything, okay, now here's the other deal. Drop in the bucket. So some people are Warren Buffett and they want to invest, but they don't know where this good idea is. Some people have this good idea, they ain't got no money. They can't connect the dots. They don't have a freaking iron ore mine and a foundry. And how to make connect the dots and keep the paperwork legit. Get the licensing from the government and CPA, LLC, this deal, like all these different things. There could be different contributors. So like if we're putting drops in the bucket, somebody's going to have the bucket, and then they're going to have a labor pool of these specialties necessary to implement these things, right? So I'm just like random ass dude, put the drop in the bucket. Why would I do that? What's the motivator? The fucking lottery, man. The lottery. Okay, so if you put this, earth-changing idea into the bucket, it gets picked up by somebody that sees, Shark Tank's this deal, and then here's these others. It's like, hey, I want to invest my time, talent, whatever. The bucket's got a 37-year return. So at like 37 years from now, because here's the dream. Somebody's just going to walk up and give me $1 million. And I can spend the money. Because I really don't want the money. I want to spend it. That's what I think I want. And then with further thought process, I actually want to help mankind, or I'm a piece of shit. Either way, it doesn't matter. Just greedy. You know what I mean? I'm not sure why I need $57 billion. I'll figure that out when I get it. Anyway, lottery. So let's make maybe 37 years is too long, whatever, but let's just say the good idea goes in the bucket. The good idea fairy drops ideas in the bucket. Somebody's bored and they're doom scrolling and they're like, I wonder what's in the bucket. And they look at the bucket and they're like, hey, I know how to make that happen. And their skill set is implementation, whether it's pushing papers, digging the iron at the mine, whatever. Man, my nose is running today. Enemies attacking. Oh, man, I'm just a snot-nosed kid. Oh, I rebuke you, runny nose, in the name of Jesus. Anyway. So if you do a lottery-style return, you're just throwing ideas at this thing. You know what I mean? Idea 4201-735, whatever. You know what I mean? Giving its own little, have a numbered system. topic, idea, implementation, whatever like that. Somebody picks it up. These professionals get together. They make it happen somehow. I just leave my drop in the bucket, go on, live my life. 37 years later, I get a, knock on the door, whatever, and, fucking Ed McMahon's got like a check. You know what I'm saying? Like, for real. Okay, so now, whoever holds the bucket, based on the concept of buying a lottery ticket, people are putting in their time, they're doing like a resume of talent, they're finding access to investment and stuff like that. So like if you hold the fucking bucket, bro, you own the world. You own the computing capacity of the brains of every human being that interacts with us. Well, how do you manage people into one direction? Okay, like why would you do that is a good question, but how do you do that? You make it their idea. My dad is the most stubborn person in the world. I can send him a video about everything he's concerned with, and he won't even open it and watch it because he didn't find it. Because he wants to find it and show everybody else. You know what I mean? You got that guy sitting there. You've all been there. You walk through the living room floor, and he's like, did you see what Donald Trump did? Did you see what Donald Trump... See what they're doing to him? Whatever. Like they're just watching the news to get this information. And they got some information. It's like, oh, I know something you don't know. And then they're like giving you this information. But if you independently give him information, he won't even open the link. He knows it's you. It says YouTube right on there. There's a little picture underneath it that pops up on his phone. He's like, yeah, that source is talking about what Donald Trump did. Yeah, I guess. Whatever. Because you burst his bubble. He had to find it himself and then show you because now he's the reporter. It's got to be his idea for him to do it. It doesn't matter if it's a YouTube video or politics or building a house or how do you get from A to B in a semi-truck trying to deliver a load to Casa de Fruite. And he was a pre-internet guy, so he just knows that shit in his head. And he'll tell you turn left, turn right, go over the hill, it's the second stoplight, turn left. Watch out for the, neighbor's dog. He'll run out there if you ain't careful. Or whatever. Like, he's had a stroke, but he can still tell you all of that because his mind is an atlas. And it's his idea. So if you ask him, he will volunteer this information. It's just like, wow level because he's, specific to his job, which had certain requirements, this, that, and the other. So he's been there, done that. Somebody gets a bright idea, well, why didn't you do this? Well, I'll tell you why I didn't do this, because of this, 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 and this. And then when you get there in your self-driving truck and there ain't no lines and the road's covered in ice and Sally just turned sideways in front of you, what are you going to do then? Well, what I did when that happened was blah, blah, blue, blah, blue, and it looks messy, but everybody lived. Or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, he'll explain to you why it makes sense to him, for sure, and divulge all of that because it's his idea. Okay, so I want everybody to do that. Why? That's how. Make it their idea. How is, like that, through via the lottery. Okay, one day Ed McMahon's going to show up, give you a check. Maybe. Taking a chance. Okay, and then you got the what's the goal? Okay, so we read in the Bible at the Tower of Babel, it says that God said amongst himself, they are of one accord, they can do anything. Didn't say they were righteous, didn't say they loved Jesus, didn't say, follow these religious rules, didn't say, sacrifice a goat, cut yourself and dance like a going the same direction. They're of one mind. They're of one accord. We as a group are moving this way, and because we're all moving together, we are unstoppable. One accord. You know what was Jesus' favorite car? A Honda. It clearly says in the Bible that him and the disciples were all in one accord. Okay, so, you know what I mean? To quote Bill Burr, all I got to do is fix all these personal flaws that my wife complains about, and then, like, she won't have anything to complain about because I fixed everything. Cool. Okay. Let's take this to a national scale. You want to bring back manufacturing? What are you going to make? How are you going to do it? This, that, and the other. Blah, blah, blah. Let's get every motherfucker that ever got on the keyboard just clickety-clacking and just talking smack. Your buddies will tell you how to fix your problem. If I go to my friends and I just set down a case of beer and I'm like, roast me, they tell me my problems. Well, this, that, and the other, you know, you talk crazy, your fucking nose is runny, you know, you're ugly and your mama dresses you funny, whatever. Like, and then I'll retort, well, you godless sons of bitches think that you're a monkey's uncle or whatever, and we'll just complain. But that's crowdsourcing and identifying problems and identifying solutions, right? So, like, there's an element of that. Okay, so the person that holds the bucket, and this might be, I might be unraveling the internet actually. The hive mind. Okay, but you're not getting the best. It's someone getting the best of you. Okay. So for the betterment of mankind, I throw this in there, and it's my idea, so I'm all about it. Well, my God, let me tell you, son. And I crowdsourced that based on a lottery ticket thing, and we've all been screwed by the lottery. So, like, you know, so, well, I ain't doing nothing with this. I'm never going to actually do this, so, you know, I'm going to throw this idea out there, and I can do anything if I give somebody else. If I don't care who's getting the credit for this deal, then yeah, you know, hey, this is a, you know, way of life altering, you know, Steve Jobs level, you know, like how do we secure everybody's wife so nobody rapes my wife or your wife and kids? What if we just, like, stopped abductions? Because every woman's walking around with a Stanley Cup that's freaking armed and dangerous. Bro, yeah, I mean, it might get messy there for a while, but after it levels out, you know, is the juice worth the squeeze? 100%. 100%. Because who's getting their ass shot off? The people attacking your wife and kids. That's like, who needs to be shot? You know what I'm saying? I mean, yeah, I mean, like, I hope they live through it and repent. But you had that coming, motherfucker. You know what I mean? So, like, hey, read the Bible and repent. Don't attack women and children, especially the ones with a coffee cup, and you will find that you just might find you get what you need. The Bible. Oh, yeah. Anyway. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm pausing right here to determine whether or not I need to apologize. Did I just take his name in vain? I mean, I was saying it in a funny way. I think I'm good. But, anyways, peace be upon him. Okay, that was making fun of Boo Slim, for the record. Anyway, that last little part was making fun of Slim. One of the things about this deal, like I shouldn't have paused. I should have kept rolling. I want to stay in the flow state where I'm receiving from on high at all times. And then when the muse hits, just the idea of make a video of yourself talking about your idea. Okay, cool. I can do that. And then I can push share idea, right? I don't know how to compress the file and send it as an email. I don't know how to do that. These old timers are not going to know how to do that either. So there's another drop in the bucket. Make a one touch. If I'm going to send an hour and 17-minute video to my dad via a text message, auto compress into a sendable size, amount of information, and also, openable on the other sides. Get on an Adobe or whatever, which that might already be a thing, but I don't know. So get on it, marketing or whatever. You see what I'm saying? Like, make the bucket. If you hold the bucket, and you got every drop, and then before God, you're just like on this handshake deal. You know what I mean? And this is where it gets wild. It says, "Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven." Right? So, because I have all the ideas of the eldership in my bucket, now what can I do? Absolute power corrupts absolutely everybody. So I have to headship this thing with someone who is God-fearing. Someone that literally is afraid that they're going to go to hell if they do not handle this appropriately with the morals and ethics of Jesus Christ. Because by everyone's account, that's the correct way to do it. And if God's God, I'm not, He might throw me into hell. That means that I am not the absolute power. God is. And that's what they recognized. The government recognized that and wrote down their observation of God-given rights. Okay? So, and there's more than the ones that they wrote down. But the ones they wrote down are just, they're so easy, they're so obvious, a caveman can notice. All right? So that's, there you go, right? And then, like, what if you really had an idea for the betterment of mankind and you shared it and nobody gave you a dime? Your lineage is better off. So this is the lottery ticket to potentially getting a gain, a monetary value. But if it's implemented, it definitely makes mankind better off in the upcoming generations. For sure. So on the one hand, it's a baby. Yeah, it's a lottery ticket. But on the other hand, it definitely has a return. Okay? And then that's in the yonder. Maybe it's maybe I've been dead 20 years before somebody uses my idea or whatever like that. Okay, right here, right now, I've done this critical thinking. How could this work? This is the need. How can I fix it? How do I solve this problem? You know what I mean? Here's all this stuff. I don't know about this other stuff, but I've got this right here dialed in. I'm going to put my drop in the bucket. When I go to sleep that night and my world sucks, I'm like, well, Jesus, we tried. And I'm going to sleep better at night. So like I did my part. I was obedient to you, oh Lord, in that I conveyed the possibilities of the drops in the bucket. I've contributed my drop into the bucket. I've inspired your will to be done as you inspire your people. I feel like I'm working for Jesus, which allows me to receive from Jesus. So as I'm getting more glory, I can give the glory, and then I get the glory to give the glory, and get the glory to give the glory, and it's glorious. So being a part of that and establishing that community of mankind, thwarting the enemy who is here to steal, kill, and destroy, fighting him at the very core of, good job, son. You know what I mean? I mean, a man's got to have a hobby. You know what I mean? Like, my mission statement is to take over the earth for Jesus. Where's Jesus live? Where's he live? Everywhere. He's everywhere. He's everywhere. He's omnipresent. And when he's in the form of a man, and he shows up to be the sacrificial lamb, he comes through the womb to die for you and me. I don't know why I made that so funny. Glorious. And you can be a part of it. Here's how. You know what I mean? Hey, I had a good idea. You know what? You know what we need? Sitting there drinking some beer. Playing freaking beer pong. Talking shit with the boys. Somebody's like, that's a good idea. They pull out their phone. They're like, hey! He just said this, that, and the other. I think it'll work. All right. Send your video. Somebody, made a compression deal. So now this video, they just hit share. Boom. Drop in the bucket. Here's your drop in the bucket. Now you place this into the Internet of Things. We got our artificial resource, that's going to, interface quickly to tell us, hey, what are good drops in the bucket? My freaking algorithmic spying on the thing will show the stuff that I'm interested in. You know what I mean? Like everything's there. Like, this is just connecting the dots. And when I look at all these people that had all these different, dude, they're just connecting the dots. I'm a truck driver. I comprehend, get the load, deliver the load. I'm physically moving 47,000 pounds of product. Usually about 38,000, but, they start getting heavy around 44. At 48, 50, you're getting paid a little extra to go around the scales. Making their way, the only way they know how, connect the dots. Connect the dots. Connect the dots. As you're connecting these dots, you have to produce dots that can be connected. I think it'll work, man. And if somebody's just like, can you imagine that old dude? He's just sitting out there on the porch, and he does this thing. He's like they got their dentures or whatever. You know what I mean? And this dude's just like full of knowledge. Well, I tell you, when we was a kid, and you're just listening to this dude, you're like, that's a great idea. Pops, tell me what you just said. All right, drop in the bucket, and you put this in there. Now this is going to go for the betterment of mankind, but you're uploading it via your device that has your IP address. It's connected to you. So whatever device uploads this thing, that's where it comes from. So you can just, at this point, you can encourage theft for the betterment of mankind. So you just have these people go around, hey, what's one of these good ideas you have every day you're not going to do nothing with? You know what I mean? Oh, well, I would like to have facial recognition. That way, whoever's on the video for the drop of the bucket that's actually talking will be recognized as the one that 37 years from now should win this lottery, and we could send Ed McMahon over here with the $10 million Publisher Clearinghouse check because, yeah, that's what he did. I don't care what Mandela says. I know I was there. Mandela effect, for the record, there's another drop in the bucket. The bullshit-o-meter. Like, is the Mandela effect actually got anything to do with whether or not it happened? No. No, it's a survey to see if you dumb sons of bitches can be convinced that history that you remember is incorrect and history that they force upon you is actually correct, so that they can pretend to be God. That's what the Mandela effect actually is. Alright, see if these soft-headed son of bitches will think the cornucopia in their underwear was never there. I've not seen that shit put my underwear on it my whole fucking life. You think I can't remember that? You think the poisonous fucking seed oil herbicide has diluted my ability to remember to that point? Buddy, I got the Holy Ghost living inside of me. I can remember what my underwear looks like. You know what I mean? In your quest to cloud world us all and to trick us, you evil satanic enemy, you forgot one thing. God is God. Yeah. And we can read the Bible stuff like, you know, super handy. Super handy. Alright, that's a further outline for the bucket, for the drop of the bucket, and how to milk the public willingly into creating God's will on earth. See you later.